Google says my storage is full again. I have been paying Google every single year just to keep my memories. Photos, videos, trips, family moments, everything. Now 7 years later, I realized I've paid about $1,000 and the price is just gonna go up. So that stops today. Naturally, I started looking for alternatives, and the best bang for buck is self-hosting. And the internet is filled with tutorials, but every tutorial I found was just overwhelming. Custom hardware, Linux commands, networking, cybersecurity. Half of the video sounded like I need to become a full-time system administrator just to store my photos, and I'm literally an engineer. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to build your own private cloud server using a regular desktop computer. It doesn't matter if you're completely new at this. If you follow along this video, I'll show you step by step how to set it up, give it your own domain name and make it work almost exactly like Google Photos. And all for just $200. The best part is this setup will last you at least 5 years. So let's build it. So first we need to choose our hardware. We can go with Raspberry Pis, but at these costs, it doesn't sound like a good deal. And you're better off buying a mini desktop which has more power and RAM in it. So I ordered one. This is HP EliteDesk 800. It has Intel i5 6th Gen, 16 GB of RAM and 256 GB SSD. All for $150, which is just perfect. Now we need to just figure out our storage drive. If you want, you can just use the internal storage, but I wanted more than 256 GB and thankfully I had this old 1 TB external hard disk that was waiting to be used. Oh yeah, by the way, if you want similar setup, I'll have the links for it in the description. Now let's get into software. Okay, so we'll first begin by downloading Ubuntu. So to do that, let's go ahead and search for download Ubuntu Server. Hit enter. And let's click on the first link. Okay, so it shows up Ubuntu 26.04, but we actually need a previous version, Ubuntu 24.4. I'm choosing this because this has a stable version and a lot of applications support it. And just a heads up, this ISO is actually 3.41 GB, so it will take some time. While it is downloading, let's open a new tab and search for Balena Etcher. Click on the first link and download Flasher. Here I'm going to download Mac OS version because I'm currently using a MacBook. But if you are using Windows, you can download the x86 or x64 version. Click download. It's almost done and yeah, it's downloaded. We downloaded the operating system. Now we need to create an installation media, also known as a bootable drive. So let's connect this to our computer and let's begin. Right now I'm using a MacBook Pro, so I'll be connecting it to my USB hub. Let's open Finder and go to Downloads. Open Balena Etcher. Drag Balena Etcher onto application to install it. Give it a second. Okay, so close the application and let's go to App Launcher. Click on Balena Etcher. Here we'll click Flash from File. Click on the Ubuntu ISO. Select Target and let's click on the USB pen drive that we connected. And select and Flash. Here we need to type in our user password, so okay, and it's gonna do its thing and flash the USB. Just give it a few seconds and we're done. Okay, so now close the window, eject the pen drive. Now let's bring in the mini PC that we bought. Now let's connect the power cord, a Ethernet cable, a keyboard, and finally a PD cable for display. And lastly, the Ubuntu installation pen drive. Okay, now when you turn on the system, keep pressing escape. until you see the HP logo. Now scroll down to BIOS setup, go to advanced and secure boot configuration. Here it's necessary to disable secure boot. So select this and then go down, exit, save changes, yes. Now just wait for your system to boot up. You will be asked to type in a PIN 0218. Press enter. Okay, click on try or install Ubuntu Server. Let it load. Select the language. We'll update it later, so continue without updating. And keyboard layout English US, done. Okay, and we'll be installing the Ubuntu Server Complete Edition. Now here it's important to note down the IP address. After writing it down, let's go done. We don't need proxy. Okay, done. Here you can select the hard disk that we'll be using, and we are going with Samsung, the internal hard disk. Go down and press done. On this part of the screen you can see all the hard disk that's currently being used, and we have two hard disks available. One is the pen drive that we plugged in and the other one is the internal hard disk. Just press done. Continue. Here's where you'll name your computer. We'll just say this is home server. Home server. Server. And done. We don't need Ubuntu Pro, so skip for now. This is very important. We need to install OpenSSH server. So click on it, done. We don't need any of these services, so directly we'll go to done. And let's wait for it to be installed. Okay, so we have successfully installed the server. Now we can power off the machine, unplug it and move it to any place where it doesn't get disturbed. I chose my bookshelf. Here you just need to connect the power cord and an Ethernet cable for now. Okay, so finally you can power it back on. Just make sure it has uninterrupted power source and availability of Ethernet cable. Because just running it on Wi-Fi means you'll end up with lower speeds of data transfer. Okay, so we checked off the hardest part of the setup right now. Next, we'll install Immich. So in order to install Immich software, we need to log into our server using our laptop. So let's go ahead and do that. So it's SSH space username. So our username is server at the IP address, and my server's IP address is 192.168.1.248, and let's press enter. So are you sure? Yes. So here we input the password that we set while installation of the Ubuntu server. There we go. Okay, so before we begin the installation, we need to update and upgrade all the apt repositories. So sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade -y. So input the same password and press enter. So this is going to take a minute because it's a fresh install of the Ubuntu server. Let's give it some time to finish updating. Okay, so now the updates are complete. Now we need to add the Docker repository. So I'll take the repository code snippet and paste it here. So if you're following along and if you want the same code lines, you can use the link in the description to go to the blog and take all the code snippets. Okay, so now the repositories are up to date. Now let's go ahead and install Docker. Yes. Okay, now Docker engine is installed. Now let's check if it's running properly. So sudo system control status Docker. Okay, as you can see, it's active and running. So we can go ahead. The next step is we need to add the external hard drive so that we have more storage space to keep our photos and videos. And I connected my external hard disk USB now. Now let's make sure our server can actually see the hard disk. To do that, we have to run the command lsblk. This command shows all the hard disks connected to the server. As you can see, our hard disk is connected on SDA1 and shows the size as 931 GB. So the next steps are we need to create a folder, format our drive and mount our drive to the folder. So to do that, let's go ahead and type in the command mkdir space storage drive. Oops. Mkdir space storage drive and enter. Next, let's do a ext4 format so that there are no user or permission issues with the drive. To do that, let's do sudo mkfs dot ext4 space /dev/sda1 and press enter. It's just confirming to proceed formatting the drive. So let's press Y and enter. It's going to take a few seconds to format the drive, so let's give it some time. Okay, so the formatting is complete. So let's go ahead and mount it to the folder that we created. To do that, we need to do sudo space mount space /dev/sda1 space /home/server/storage drive. If you followed along the tutorial, you don't need to change any code. Just running this command will mount the hard disk to the proper directory. Now let's confirm that it's properly mounted to the correct directory. Let's rerun the command lsblk. As you can see, SDA1 is mounted at storage drive directory, exactly where we wanted it. Okay, so now let's clear the terminal and begin downloading Immich Server. So let's create a folder by the name Immich app and move into the folder. Now let's download the official Docker Compose file from Immich website. Run it and it's downloaded. Now we need to change one thing from this file. So let's do nano.env. Okay, here we just need to change the upload location of the Immich server, so that any photos or videos that are uploaded to the server will be stored on the external hard disk and not on the internal storage. So we just need to remove what's written there and then just write /home/server/storage drive. And /library. And that's it. To close, we need to press Ctrl X and save the file. Yes. Now the last thing is to create the library folder in the external storage drive. So mkdir space home server storage drive library permission denied. Okay, so this is why we formatted the external hard disk into ext4 format. So we can just run one command to set the user permissions. So it is sudo chown -r server :server space home server storage drive and enter. Now let's run the previous command. Cool, we got the permissions back. So let's just create a Postgres folder just as a safety precaution. mkdir space Postgres. Okay, everything is ready now. We just need to pull the Docker Compose file and then run it. So sudo docker compose pull. Now the Immich server is downloading. Just give it a few seconds. Okay. Now let's do sudo docker compose up. Okay, so this is going to run the Immich server now. So okay, so we are finally done with running all the commands and doing all the installations. Now we'll just go ahead and start using Immich. So to do that, let's pull up a browser now. Okay, so to log into our Immich server, we need to go to the IP address. So 192.168.1.248.2283. Okay, it's up and running. So let's get started. Need an admin email address. For now, I'll just give something random. So a.a.com. An admin password, I'll just keep one password. I'll just keep a simple password now, but you make sure to keep a strong password. Not now. So a.a.com. Login. Not now. Welcome admin. So you get to select a theme, light theme or dark theme. I'll just leave it at dark now. Languages, English, sounds good. And you can just leave it as is. Storage, backup. To download the mobile applications, click on the link here and you can go to Android app or iPhone or even F-Droid. And now done. So that's it, you're in your home screen. As you can see here, there's 915 GB remaining. That's a 1 TB hard disk. You can go to administrator and users. To create new users, you can give the email ID, set a temporary password and a name, and if you want to restrict them to a certain size, you can do that here. If you want the other user to be an admin user as well, to give them permissions to create new users or remove users, you can do that here and click create and you're done. Okay, so now I'll show you how to install it on an iPhone. First, let's go to App Store and here let's go to search and search for Immich. Click the first one and we need to download the app that looks like this, made by Futo Computing. So click download and then open. Allow. Here's where you input the IP address. So it's going to be 192.168.1.248 2283. Next. Hello. Oh. Yep. So the email ID I gave there was a.a.com. Password was login. Give it allow full access. Not now. Okay, so now it's logged in. Okay, so as you can see, even here it is 915 GB. Here you can go and give backup access to whatever galleries or albums you want from your phone, and it will be automatically updated onto the Immich server. But right now it only runs inside your home network, meaning you disconnect from your home Wi-Fi, Immich stops working on your phone. To fix that, we have three options. 1. You can use Tailscale, or 2. You can open ports on your router, or 3. You can use Cloudflare. And in this video, we're going to be using Cloudflare. It's a completely free of cost service, and you can access your Immich instance from anywhere around the world. But you need to have a domain name. I'll provide a few domain register links in the description. It's going to cost like $4 or $5 a year, and you can get one of your own choice. So let's get back to setting up Cloudflare. In any browser, go to cloudflare.com, click on login, and you can sign up right here with Google. Okay, so we are logged in. First, we need to go to domains, overview, and here we need to add a domain. So let's click on add a domain. You can either buy your domain from Cloudflare, but I suggest you check out other options, because every time I check, Cloudflare was always a little bit more expensive than any other competitors. That's why I bought mine from GoDaddy.com. And now let's go and connect a domain. My domain name is akshay.host. Let's click continue. Okay, here we are going to select the free plan. Okay, on this screen, let's just scroll down and continue to activation. Okay, so for some reason the video stopped recording. Basically what I did was I copied the name servers from Cloudflare and went to my domain registrar and then pasted it. That's it. So we need to give some time for Cloudflare to update on its backend. Okay, it's just been like a minute, and our domain has completely been transferred to Cloudflare. Okay, so the best thing about Cloudflare is you don't need to get a separate SSL certificate. All the data encryption is managed by Cloudflare. Okay, so now let's set up the tunnels for our servers. To do that, let's go to quick search, type tunnels, and click on Zero Trust Networks and Tunnels. And here let's click on add a tunnel by Cloudflare. So now we're going to name our tunnel. I'm going to call it home server and save tunnel. Now we need to install Cloudflare on our server. To do that, let's go and select our operating system. We are currently running Ubuntu, that is Debian, and it is 64-bit architecture. Now we need to copy two commands from here. One is to install the Cloudflare, and the second is to set up the tunnel. So now let me copy both of them and paste it on my notepad. Now that I've copied it, let me open up my terminal and then continue installing there. Okay, so I'm back on my terminal. Let me paste the first command. Input sudo password. Let it install now. Okay, so Cloudflare has been installed. Now let's run the second command to install the tunnels. Okay, so the tunnel has been set up. Now let's go back to our Cloudflare dashboard and then continue the setup there. Okay, so now let's scroll down and click next. Okay, so here we are going to type the host name as photos, and the domain is going to be my domain, and you can just leave the path as is. Click on the type of service, HTTP, and here I'm going to type in the server's IP address. That is going to be 192.168.1.248, and we need to put in the port as well. So Immich runs on 2283. Okay, so now let's complete the setup. Okay, so our tunnel is up and running and everything works fine. Let's go ahead and check it. Okay, so let's open a new tab. Type photos.akshay.host. Working. Okay, so here my email and the password. Okay, so as you can see, it works, but we need to fix one thing in Cloudflare. So let's go back here. Let's just go back to domains, account, home. Now we need to search for cache. So, and cache rules for our domain. Here I'm going to create a new rule. Type the rule as bypass Immich custom rule. It's going to be host name equals to photos.akshay.host, and we are going to be bypassing the cache and deploy. Okay, so it's active. This step is very important because if you don't do this, you're going to be caching the media on Cloudflare. It's against their TOS. So, and in the future, if you ever need to add new instances to your Cloudflare, like adding Nextcloud or any other services, you just need to go back to search and search for tunnels. Click on tunnels, go to your home server and just add a new route. So for example, I can add drive.akshay.host, and this is going to be http 192.168.1.248 for 80. So if I ever set up Nextcloud, this is going to be the Nextcloud's IP address, and using Apache I'll route any traffic coming from the domain to Nextcloud service. Add route. Okay, so but right now we have CasaOS as our port, so I'm not going to do that because CasaOS doesn't have the strong security to be put out in public. So I'm going to delete this route, delete route. Okay, so we have finally completely set up our own photo server. It can be accessed from anywhere around the world using our domain name, but there is one drawback here. Cloudflare has a limitation on upload, meaning you can't upload any big files outside your home network. But you can access and download it. There is no limitations on it. For example, you can send a large album of your trip to your friends or relatives, and they can access it and they can download it, but they can't upload big files to the server unless you go with the Cloudflare premium plan. Well, we're trying to avoid as much as subscriptions as possible, so anyways, for now, enjoy your own personal photo server, and see you next week with a new video.